Game on.
All right. All right. Welcome to our call. It's June 9th. This is the Good Vibe Tribe Soul Warriors team call. I'm Jacqueline. Again, if we haven't been introduced yet, I'm one of the Star Diamond leaders here on the team. And I'll be helping to kind of just co-anchor, I guess, because really the spotlight tonight is going to be on Miss Talise sharing some of her heart and love with all of us tonight. But before we get to that, I just wanted to shout out and welcome any new coaches that are here on the team. If you are brand new to the team, please be sure that you are tapping into our amazing network of coaches here using our team training website, helping to start your journey with those 4 vital behaviors, which really begins with you leaning into your journey as a wellness professional, and that starts with your workouts, your nutrition, your mindset, and we've got you all set up there. So if you are looking for more connection, the team call is a great place to find it. And then also just partnering with us and leaning into the different levels of your business. We usually break down that a lot more, but I think it's way more impactful when you see it visually, and I don't have the slides tonight. So we are doing more of a heart-centered call tonight is what I'm going to lead with. But before we get into a little bit of recognition, I want us all to just give Mare a big hug. She has had a super long day, which was not what she was expecting at all. And she pours into all of us with all that she is all the time. So if we could just go like this and send her a ginormous hug right now and let her know that she is surrounded in this bubble of love, that would go a long way. All right. So in addition to that, we have some amazing women that are stepping up on the team. I'm going to share my screen with you real quick, and I want to recognize these lovely ladies. Can we see Miss Sarah and Jody? Can we see that? Yeah. So this is Sarah Anisman, and she has promoted herself to a newly minted, what just happened? Hold on. Did that just disappear for you guys? Sorry. Hold on, it disappeared.
I thought.
Okay. Do you still see it? Because it's not on my end.
I see West Elm.
Okay.
There we go. we back.
We're back. All right. So that is Miss Sarah. She is a brand new diamond coach, which means she has stepped up her business into the next leadership rung within the company, but also promoted herself to a leadership within the team. She has women that she's mentoring. She's given herself a pay raise, and she's also just now starting to really open the doors of her business to be able to grow the whole part of her business that is team and what am I trying to say? The whole same siding build of the business. So she has also signed on 2 Emerald coaches, 1 on each leg. Those coaches are starting to grow their business. She has now 4 coaches on each leg of her business. Again, we go over this in more slides, so just talk to your upline if you would like more information on that. But it is such a huge mile marker in your business. We are so proud of you, Sarah. I know that you've been putting your heart and hustle into this, and we are so excited for you. Also, we have Jody, who is a new Emerald coach. That means she has 2 people joining her wellness team, and we are so thrilled. That means that you're now you have the opportunity to have cycle bonuses roll into your business, so you're not only just earning commissions, but you're really starting to step up into your leadership, and really that residual income starts to build when you start to get free leads from Beachbody and have that as a part of your organization. So congratulations, Jody. And then Miss Sarah's coach, Danielle, is her new Emerald. So congratulations, Danielle, for also going Emerald. And we have a success starter on the team, Marla Daico. Sorry if I'm butchering that. Success Starter is an incredible way for you to start to grow your business. Success Starters are those coaches that come in and immediately within the first 6 months of their business, 3 consecutive to be exact, start inviting into their challenge groups right away. So it allows them to build momentum, and they usually earn 10 times more than your average coach because they are starting to really lean in and share their journey from day 1. So congratulations, Marla. We're excited for you to be a part of the Success Starter month 1 on your way to month 2 and 3. Today, you guys, we have Miss Talise. She is here to share some of her heart and how she's stepping up in her business during this time. She's an Emerald coach, like a double Emerald coach, I do believe, right? Like you're double Emerald, meaning you've got more than 2. Yeah. So she's growing her team. She's in the process of doing that, and she's really leading in and finding her voice in this space right now. And there was a lot on her heart to share after she heard this week's National Wake Up Call, and we are excited to hear from her tonight. So Talise, you want to introduce yourself and give a little bit of background about who you are and what brought you into coaching and a little bit of your heart in this space?
Yeah, so Mare called me this morning, and I'm not even gonna lie, I was like, yeah, and then I got off the phone, I was like, okay, I think I'm gonna vomit. But but it's actually something that I've been thinking about this week anyway. Listening to the national call, and I let me backtrack. So I'm on I'm on Meredith's team, Soul Warriors, and I've been coaching a little over a year. I did not want to coach, actually. I was literally in Switzerland, and there are no gyms, and I was singing at the Theater Basel, which is my other side of my life, which I will get into that later. And I just needed to be able to work out on the road as an opera singer. I find that musicians in general have a really poor grasp on their own wellness, and they're singing athletes, but like somehow the connection between your total wellness and your vocal health like never connects. And I've always loved working out, but I just never really thought of it as a business. I just wanted to do it because it's what makes me happy. So I'm also plant-based, and I really actually fell in love, and I was kind of ghost following her and fangirling for probably about 8 months because I just loved her feed. And so one day I remember reading that she was doing a challenge, and I thought, well, you know what? I am going to be on the road. Let me just find something to keep myself going because I'm going to be away for 5 months. And in our conversation back and forth, she was like, full disclosure, I'm a Beachbody coach. And I was like, no, you're not. No, because I had maybe 3 years prior to that, a quick dash with Beachbody, and I signed up as like a discount coach, but it really was not, they were not my people. They're lovely people, but just not my people. And I left. And I think I was probably always searching because I feel that the universe sends you your people when you're ready and when you're truly open, and then entered Meredith. So I signed up and I started working out, and I was like, oh my God, I love this. And she's like, you're kind of already like sharing and doing this thing. So like, why don't you just coach? I mean, you could at least get your Shakeology, in a discount. And I was like, no, let me think about it. And I think I maybe sat on, I don't know, maybe 3 months maybe or so. I don't know, Meredith can correct me. But anyway, I was like, well, it's kind of expensive in Switzerland. I was like, yeah, I do want the discount. So I signed up. And I just kind of kept doing what I do, which is just share my workouts. And it was mostly for me, for accountability. And then people started asking me, oh, what is it that you're doing? And I started to get all of these questions. And I thought, oh, well, maybe I should really just lean into this. So fast forward to another 6 months later, I am finalizing a divorce, and I'm realizing that I need to move my son to Georgia to continue his training in baseball. And I kept hearing this one reoccurring thing over all the calls and things like that, and also in this diamond push. And I think it's just it was talking to me, and it's like, lean into your business as though your life depends on it. Well, 3 months ago, the market fell out from underneath us. There's no baseball. Every theater is closed. So quite frankly, my life does depend on it. And I've been sort of hemming and hawing, and my musical friends will be upset, but I just wasn't feeling that spark anymore. And I realized that my joy was coming from this community. So when the pandemic hit and I was living in New Jersey, I thought, you know what, this is the perfect time for me to lean in and do some personal growth here. I mean, what else am I doing? I've got loads of time now. There's no excuse. I don't have time. I can't say I don't have time for my business or whatever makes me happy. And then the 10 rounds started. And it was literally every day about just habits, getting up with some purpose, because I could see everyone around me literally just falling apart. And I thought, well, how can I keep my friends going? Like every single one of my opera friends was suddenly unemployed, had lost so much income. And I just wanted to be a source of light instead of the lamenting of what we didn't have anymore. And I thought, what if I actually posted something the other day, and I wanted to read it because it was so it just hit me. So I posted a few days ago, what if 2020 isn't canceled? What if 2020 is the year we've been waiting for? A year so uncomfortable so painful, so scary, so raw, that it finally forces us to grow. A year that screams so loud, finally awaking us from our ignorant slumber. A year we finally accept the need for change. Declare the change, work for the change, become the change. A year we finally band together instead of pushing each other further apart. 2020 isn't canceled, but rather the most important year of all. And I just thought, you know what? Maybe all this is happening for a reason. Maybe we can, instead of saying, oh, this was just the worst and look at all that we've lost, maybe I can actually grow from this. I mean, I've had time home with my son, which I've never had. I managed to move state and find a home in like a matter of a month and a half after deciding that I was doing this. The Diamond Push opened up. I've never felt closer to this community. I actually literally talk to my girls like every day. And like if someone hasn't talked to someone, we're like, hello, where are you? What's going on? And then, you know, with the political climate, I started looking around, and as I was trying to expand my community, I realized that everyone was hurting. Everyone's struggling. It's not just me. And I thought, how can I best be of service to the people who are following me? Like, I mean, a lot of people say, you know, oh, your posts are so fantastic. You're so positive. You're so upbeat. But I know that we're not always upbeat all the time. And the reality is I'm not upbeat. I mean, literally on Sunday, it's so embarrassing. I got on the scale and it was 3.5 pounds heavier. And I literally had a meltdown. I was like, oh my God, how did I gain 3.5 pounds? I mean, what? And then I just spent the whole day like beating myself up for 3.5 pounds. And then finally, like in the evening, I thought, hey, hang on. You've just moved state. You have more people reaching out to you than ever. And that call happened on Monday, and the topic was authenticity. And I literally put out a post about my meltdown, about 3.5 pounds, and how I just wasted a whole day, not even gonna lie, wasted a day just beating myself up instead of doing, like, Sunday usually is my jam. That's like I get ahead for the week. I plan out my posts, like the content, everything. I'm trying to really be mindful of that because that's actually the thing that makes me happy. And I just wasted it. And I thought, okay, well, what if like that was my last day and I wasted it over 3.5 pounds, like really 3.5 vanity pounds? And it's like my moon cycle, which totally makes sense now. So why was I beating myself up? So I posted about that. I was literally listening to the call, and I had the Diamond Push up simultaneously. And it was like, listen to the call and put into action something that you immediately, like, don't wait for the call to be over, put it into action. And I was like, all right. So I made this post, and I then texted Lucy, and I was like, I just made a post and I feel like I'm going to throw up. And she was like, then it's probably a good post. I got the most feedback ever. And then I like posted again my challenge group that I'm going to launch. And literally, I mean, people that I'm not even connecting with, but just reached out to me and they said, oh my God, thank you for saying, like, you were so real. I'm so ready for some sort of change. How can I sign up? Like, I went through your post and like, thank you for just being like, for that little wake up call. And I just thought, it didn't seem significant to me, but I realized that is why I'm starting to make more connections now, is because I'm sharing things that are my actual life. I mean, I was in Whole Foods looking like an actual, just a crazy woman, because I'm like, okay, so my son just texted me from the batting cage that he wants to make the soup from Ratatouille. And now I'm like rushing out because those are all the vegetables that I don't have in the house. And I said, I'm going to post that because that's just like the reality of my life. I'm like, never mind that I want to get on my call. He's like, can we make that soup? So I'm like, literally like going down the aisle with my cart, like looking up the recipe, trying to film myself, picking up things. And I just laughed at myself. And I thought, I'm going to post that because it's the most ridiculous thing. But I think that's the thing that people connect with. My own manager of my operatic career reached out and said, I'm so proud of you because that is the most human thing that you've done in months. And she said, I feel like people are going to really connect with you and know who you are now and why you're who you are and why you do what you do. And so in this crazy time, in the diamond push, where I hear us having conversations about what do we say, how do we talk through like all the icky stuff, and it just feels really like not good to like just cold connect anymore. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say to my friends. I just encourage anyone to just, if it feels icky, you know, lean into this group and just have open discussion. I think everyone's uncomfortable. I mean, some of the best conversations with my friends have started with, hey, I'm calling, but like, I don't even know what to say to you. And I said, you know what? That's probably the best. I don't know what to say to you. You know, I said, it's a really crazy time, but the fact that you just reached out, and I know that you would have reached out regardless, is like, that's just real. We don't have to know what to say. I don't think there is any one right thing to say. Some of the, like my follow-ups, I've been following up with people and that I've been really having conversations with. And I just said, hey, look, I know you probably have not had time to look at the email. But it's a tricky time, but I really feel like this might be the thing that we need to do, just to take stock of our whole selves, nurture our souls, and just come together, because there's a lot of division happening right now. And if there is one space that I want to be even louder than all the other noise, it's just where we come together. And the week before that, I was so excited just to hear, as a woman of color, a mother of a Black son, to hear Carl, like, it's okay. I'm sorry. I said I was gonna cry. To hear Carl put himself into action rather than just talk it, and to give his own self, his own private money to the NAACP, made me so proud to be a part of this community. And I thought, that's why I'm here. And honestly, I think that there are, as I've been connecting with more people, there are a lot of people of color, for some strange reason, that don't feel that this space is for them. And I just thought, I need to be the face of that change, and to be the link, to not separate us, not be the divide. And I encourage any one of you who feel like, you know, oh gosh, I really want to be supportive, I want to reach out to my friend, but I don't know what to say. It's okay not to know what to say. I have been suggesting to other coaches who have reached out to me and said, look, I just really need to ask you the hard question. How do I connect? And I mean, I don't even know who started it, but the calendar that has all of the Black super coaches, the super trainers. I mean, I thought that was fantastic. I mean, I'm not personally pushing it because I'm trying to push something else. But I mean, I think making this just not about division, but just about the normalcy and the inclusion. And, you know, we are people who love the same thing. I just happen to be brown. You know what I mean? It's not, I think if we put out more of that togetherness, you know, lightness is the only thing that can shut out the darkness. It's the only thing. And I think more conversation, and just having the hard talks and having the hard discussions, or how to connect. I think that that's all okay. I think that we should do that in this space, because then we can then radiate that out for other people. And we're all, you know, influencing and showing up for so many other people collectively, that I think if we start here, then we send that out, and it's just, I mean, you know, 100 million times over. And I think that's the whole point. So, sorry for crying.
Not apologies. That was beautiful. That was absolutely beautiful. And I know I didn't properly introduce Talise. Talise is a Grammy award-winning opera singer. She's one of, as you've just seen, one of the most eloquent speakers, beautiful souls. And she just pours into this space in this community. I always love seeing her posts, as I'm sure you guys do too, whenever she shares. So we so appreciate you sharing your heart. I actually was talking with Amy today, and there's a lot of different opinions floating out there around of what people should say and what people shouldn't say and what's appropriate and what's not appropriate. And I think the one thing that we could probably all agree on is that there isn't just one right way to maneuver through this time. Like, everybody has been gifted with such a unique voice and talents, and we are all similar, but we all have different things that are unique, and we are all in very different seasons of our lives. I'm not in a place with two small children where it was appropriate for me to go, or I felt to go march. That doesn't mean I'm not donating. That doesn't mean I'm not educating my children behind the scenes. It doesn't mean that I'm not leaning into the hard conversations with my family and friends, and I'm trying to continually share the things that have always been passionate to me. I'm still me. I'm still the me I was 2 weeks ago. The things I still love are still my passions. I'm still growing a business. But we can be on a wellness journey and continue to morph and learn about ourselves and our bodies. And this is an extension of our souls. Like, this is another level of our knowingness and awareness. And it feels like a Band-Aid has been ripped off, and like things that some of us just were so blind to, we've been woken up to a blind spot. This doesn't change, like, the other things aren't still important to us. We can still change. We can still share those things. We can also share this is another extension of our journey, of how we are leaning into that. I would love to hear your thoughts on that too, Talise. But I mean, that's kind of how I'm viewing it, is like, because I've been hearing a lot of people say, well, it doesn't feel right to go back to just sharing my workouts or my nutrition or sharing the things I love. But those things didn't stop being important to people. They didn't stop being important to you. And it's not that you're making the matters at hand any less important. I would argue, and it's my standpoint, that because of the space that we occupy and what it is we show up and the message we stand for and the community that we have, it's all the more reason for us to continue to share what we have, because it unifies us. It gives us the strength, mentally, physically, emotionally, to continue to do the things that need to be done to create lasting change. Because this isn't a sprint, this is a marathon. It takes endurance. It takes a lot of endurance. And to be able to be on that path, whether that path is growing a business, radically like changing the landscape of our society and how equality really is in this country, like those are all marathons. So I want to encourage you that if you've been sitting back and you're like, but I don't want to say the right thing, risk saying the wrong thing. I've lost followers, but what I truly believe is, like, the people that know my heart, that are meant to be in my sphere of influence, they're not going to go anywhere. And I'm not meant to influence somebody in that way. And that's okay. Like, if they're not resonating with me on that level, then then they don't need to be there, like in that sphere of influence for me. And they're meant to seek guidance in another way. Somebody else is going to be able to lead them on a path. And it's not me, and I have to be okay with that. And we have to lean into that space. Were you going to say something, Talise?
Yeah, I know, you said it so perfectly. I actually did make a post about that because someone actually called me out and had said something to me about, well, have you gone to any marches, or, like, how are you supporting the cause? And I just thought, well, and I actually was really taken aback, and I said, well, I'm setting up like another house. I have a child. I've just moved state. And I said, it does not mean that I'm not supportive of any of my friends who are out marching. And I literally said, we may all be contributing in different ways than others, and that is okay. As long as we all come together for the bigger end goal is the same, which is unity and inclusivity and supporting one another, more love, then how you show up doesn't have to always look the same. And this is my way of contributing. I've been on numerous discussions, even with opera companies, and I've been speaking about total wellness. No one is addressing what we need to really be taking care of in alongside of all these other really, big topics and things that are happening, the pandemic, people, unemployment, just health, the stress that comes along with all of that. And I said, I just want to be a little cheerleader going, hey, drink your water and be sure to fill up your own cup before you go back out to march, because you have to think about the whole person. And that's my way of contributing, and that's okay. Some people don't want to see my posts. Some people have said, oh, like, how can you just be posting about workouts? And I'm like, it's not really about workouts. I can see that you're just clicking my pictures, because if you read what I put under, it's not. So then back to Monday's call, I realized, you know what? All right, if you want to hear why I'm really here. So I started getting a little more specific, and that changed, just between yesterday. I mean, I've had more response from people that I didn't even know were following me. And I just think it's what we do. Actually, it really does matter. I mean, you cannot move in this world. You cannot be any change, incite any kind of goodness, make any difference if you are not taking care of your whole self. And the right people will get that. That has been like my mantra. You will find your people. You will find your people. You will find your people. I have found so many different people that I didn't even know were listening, but apparently I was speaking to them. In the UK, here in Atlanta, I've literally lived here for 2 weeks in Georgia. So I think what we do matters. And I think we just have to keep showing up, because why we're all here, and we know why it works. We know why it's important. We know why this community is amazing. And if people aren't ready to see that or hear that, okay. But when they're ready, they'll be back, and we'll still be who we are. And we can't change that. We can't change the mission, because if you get defeated, then we're dead in the water. And we know that that's not what we want. We know that's not what's important. So I agree with you. We're not any different. I think we need to be louder, if anything, because what else is out there is really bleak. And people are sad and they're angry and they don't know where to put their anger. And I'm like, girl, you need to go box, because that is like some serious therapy. Let me tell you, I've gotten off many calls with my attorney and then pushed 10 rounds. Yeah, I lost 8 pounds in that program. So, if that's not therapy, I don't know what is, and I don't know how to be any different. And I haven't changed. In fact, instead of shying away, I finally made this diamond push and everything, and just doing it, it made me lean in, and I've had more success in a week than I have in an entire year.
I love that. I think too, because I'll often be in this space, and so I just wanted to offer this up too. Sometimes when you hear everybody else's opinion, or you hear all the noise, it's really hard to hear your own voice and what you think or feel. And you're like, I'm afraid I'm going to say the wrong thing, but I also don't know really what to say. So I want to encourage you, all of us have to create space for mindfulness, to be able to hear our own thoughts, and more importantly, to process them. And so when we talk about personal development, yes, we're giving you recommendations for business and personal development, but also just creating space to be. I had a session with my mindset coach today. I was like, it just feels like phonetic energy all over the place, and I can't really center in on what to draft, because I can't clear my mind to just focus on one thing for a while. So if you're in that space, it happens to everybody, but that's a really good indication that you need to get grounded. You need to unplug for a minute. You need to center in on you. And doing personal development is fantastic, but sometimes the voice you need to hear is your very own. And you need to shut everything else off so that you can really hear, and more importantly, feel what that is. You will feel out the next right move. I always I giggle to myself when I say that, because I think, have you guys seen Frozen 2, The Next Right Thing? I've been in my head sing-songing the next right thing, just do the next right thing. I'm like, oh yeah, but that's really what we need to do, the next right thing. That's all any of us can do. And so putting yourself and giving yourself that grace, even if nobody else is going to extend it to you, they're not going to extend it to you until you extend it to yourself. you know? And so you have to show up, do the work. And then also, I love this too. I'm going to share this one because I love this. It was the do method. And I just like to do, but do things, but then give yourself a minute to just be, so that you can understand what it is you want to share, what your purpose is, what's your message, how are you going to add value. We talk about all these things. We give you so many tools and resources as a part of the team. But part of being able to use those tools and resources is being with them, so that you know what your stamp is, because we each have our own gifts. We each have our own voice. But if you're watching what everybody else is doing and listening to what everybody else is doing, then your message starts to feel like theirs, but it's not as genuine and heart-centered. The reason Talise's posts were blowing up is because she took time to be with her thoughts herself. And she was like, you know what? I'm just going to be me. I'm going to be authentic. And people respond to that. There's an energy behind the words that she wrote, the words that she spoke, the way she shows up, and people respond to that because it feels good. It feels authentic. Even if they may disagree with her, or maybe they were like, oh, I don't want to see any workouts. When they feel the energy coming through from that space of authenticity, they respond to it differently. So if you feel like you're just sitting down to force something out of you, or an invitation, I encourage you, like, pull back for a minute and be with what your feelings are, process it, and things will start to strip away so that they flow out of you again. I've been in that space so many times. We've been in this business for almost 7 years. There's been plenty of highs and lows. I don't remember anything like 2020. Like, this is a whole new level. But at the same time, like, there's plenty of things that have gotten shaken up before. And if you just take a minute, like, you'll start to figure out where your space in this is, so that you don't get discouraged and just be like, I'm done. I can't do this. I'm just going to turn off social media and I'm going to go dark. People need you. Like Talise just said, we need the voices. We need the positivity. Does anybody have any questions for Talise? Anybody want to say anything, or that something coming up for you that you want to get her take on, or anything? Stacy, I see you too. I was on that call the other night with Together Rising. Stacy helped lead an amazing call the other night too on that. Thank you for doing that and sharing your heart there. That was beautiful.
No, I was just gonna say, this is really resonating for me. I just literally, as we were like on this call, like, this thing came into my inbox that said, you all are exhausting right now with the manic energy to solve centuries of racial terror in a week. For those who have been intentionally sleepwalking most of your life, welcome to the other side. You can't nap your way through this. You will have to actually do the deep, slow, intentional work to change. You will have to start the process of changing. And so I think, like, that was resonating, the intentionality and the purpose behind our messages, and less around contributing to the frenetic energy. Although there is something sort of really exciting about having more people rally around a message that Black Lives Matter. But I agree about the intentionality and authenticity that you all are saying. So, yeah.
Is there anything else you guys want to share, say, do, comments for Talise? Can we give her some love for showing up on leading her first team call? Like, this is not a small deal either. That's amazing. She took the mic, crushed it. Well, nothing new in her taking the mic, but for the team call, yes, love it. Mary, did you want to pop in? Are you at a place you want to say anything? Love on your girl.
Oh my gosh. Thank you, Talise, for sharing your light. I just knew. It's funny at the events of the day, and some of you will see on my Instagram stories, but you won't know the whole story. I'll tell you later. But just a lot of crazy energy for me on top of this. And before it all really landed in my lap, I just woke up with this feeling that I really needed to hear from you, and that the team needed to hear from you. And you're always so eloquently spoken. And I just have been watching you really elevate yourself and your business. And I just knew it was a thing that needed to happen. And so I can't thank you enough. I know it's really late on the East Coast. And I know you had a lot going on today, and just thank you for making the time to speak on the call, for your leadership, and for taking up space in the wellness community, for being that voice that's doing that, and for sharing that you are having the hard conversations, and that you too are getting pushed back, even as like a woman of color. Because I think some of us women too, like as a white woman, I've been getting all sorts of different things in my inbox, and they all come from a loving place, but they can also feel very interrogating and controversial, and make you feel like you're on the defense for something you never did, or like something you don't believe in. Do you know what I mean? So it's really nice just to hear that all of us, no matter what shade of skin we're in, no matter what our backgrounds are, that this is a time that it's new for all of us. There's a lot of uncomfortable conversations, but they're better conversations to be had, and we're better people for being willing to process all of this together as a community, and to hold our voice and to take up our voice and wellness. I know I did the same today and put a Instagram thing on my platform and said, you know, like, this is my platform for health, and this is how I can serve best. And that's what I heard you say too. And it's like, this is how we serve. This is what we do. And you just can't pour from an empty cup. So that's all I wanted to share. Thank you so much, Talise.
I really am a big fan of taking away something and putting it into action. So I would love for you guys, we are ahead of schedule, but it is very late. And I feel like for a lot of people, it's been a long day. And so I want to give you guys some time, but I would love you to use this last few minutes, like, reflect on what was shared and give yourself that time that I talked about, that being time, like the reflection on what, even if it's just a journal, but start to get clear on like what it is that you want to share, if anything, from this call moving forward, how you want to integrate things. Because until we intentionally seek out those moments to really reflect, instead of being like, this is uncomfortable, I'm out, you know, like this isn't my norm, like I'm out. That's how we got where we are. So when we acknowledge that, we create that intentionality in that space, which now you have 20 minutes to do that, like journal, like create some space in your mind and in your life to work through and process some of these things. And you don't know what's going to spring forth. It could be some beautiful concepts, ideas, ways to support people in your communities, on the team, on your page, on social media, or in your life, like the people that you actually engage with in real life day to day. And again, that's going to look different for each of us depending on the season that we're in, and just fully embracing that for yourself. But any other questions before we wrap it up, you guys? Nothing. Talise, a lot of love coming to you in the comments about being here. And Meredith, we're sending lots of love to you too for this crazy day. We love you guys. Thank you for being here and sharing your time with us tonight. Talise, thank you. And we'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.